Well, folks, welcome to another post-lockdown wild camp. Breaking new ground for Wild Astro today. It's a slightly interesting one, so bear with me. We've actually come to the eastern side of the Brecon Beacons, which I think is known as the Black Mountains, but we are camping the other side of the border. We're currently walking along one of the ridges in the Black Mountains. I say we, I'll introduce you to someone in a moment. And we are camping on the English side of the OFFA'S DYKE path tonight, on top of a hill called, or a mountain called, Black Mountain. And I've got with me today someone you've not met on Wild Astro before. I have with me a very good friend of mine, Olly.
Hello.
This is Olly. Olly and his lovely wife Emma have been friends with my wife Ash forever, and quickly became very good friends when Ash and I got married. So Olly's been up Ben Nevis with me, he's been up Snowdon with me, and now he's going to come and camp on Black Mountain with me. And another first for tonight is that we're sleeping under not a tent but a tarp, which is why I've got this fella here, exactly the right length for my tarp shelter. And we're going to be pitching that on top of Black Mountain. So come with us, and we are going to camp on Black Mountain. Thank you very much for joining us. Stick around. This is Wild Astro. Right, folks, we've just made our way over a couple of peaks on the Welsh side of the border. We've come over Balmawr, and we're now dropping down this nice little come towards the little village of Llanthony, where we're going to see if we can have a pint in the pub and have a little wander around the ruins of the priory, because Olly and I both love that sort of thing. The Priory, funnily enough, is a popular location for astrophotography, weirdly, which seems odd as it's down in a valley, but I guess all will become clear when I get there and have a look around. But if you Google astrophotography at Lanthony Priory, don't forget the double L on Lanthony, then you will see some spectacular images. So yeah, we're going to carry on wandering down here. I'm going to carry on looking after my knees, and we'll bring you back when we get into Lanthony. Well folks, we're on our way down this lovely valley path now, and I don't know if you can make that out beyond. Look at the ruins of the Lanthony Priory there. Absolutely beautiful. See if I can... They're right in the centre of the screen there, but it's obviously you're zoomed out quite a lot, but isn't that a view, Ol?
It's beautiful. Let's explore it.
Let's go and have a look. Crack on. Folks, we can't go into the Priory, unfortunately. It is closed, probably due to the COVID, and of course Wales is 2 or 3 weeks behind England in their reopening of venues, so no problem. We'll skirt around and have a look from the other side. Thank you very much to the staff at the Half Moon Hotel in Lanthony. Lovely pint, and very, very hospitable, and they've done an absolutely fantastic job of looking after their publicans, keeping everyone safe.
No, the publicans are the people that run it. Patrons.
Patrons is what I meant. So this is Lanthony Priory, folks, and actually I can see what makes this a fantastic location for a bit of astrophotography if you find the right spot. It is gorgeous. Absolutely lovely place. And fortunately it sits right alongside our path, which, if I spin you around, runs up the hill over there. That's where we're heading next. Okay folks, so we've reached a pretty significant part of the day's trek, and let me spin you around and show you what we've done today. So, looking at the far ridge over there, we joined it about here and walked all the way along that ridge until about here, and then we dropped down into the valley. That's where Lanthony Priory was. And then from Lanthony Priory we've come straight back up this side. I'll put it on the map now to show you that stretch that we've just done. It's pretty much straight up, and it's taken us about an hour and a half. And I looked after my knees on the way down the descent, but my hips are pretty knackered about now. But significantly, here is the OFFA'S DYKE path. This is it. And this marks the border between England and Wales. So over there is merry old England. And behind us is Wales. So we are going to hop on the OFFA'S DYKE path and have a little jaunt along the border to the top of Black Mountain. See you in a bit. Hi folks, so we've got our tarp shelter set up, and I'm a little bit annoyed because the weather forecast has changed over the length of time we've been out today, and I don't think the sky is going to clear. So my prime objective, if you like, for this trip has gone out the window really. What I really was hoping to do was capture some images of the comet Neowise that's in the northern sky at the moment. So I was fully prepared to spend the night up and awake and try and get some great pictures of that, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I probably will still set an alarm for silly o'clock in the morning, just to poke my head out and see if there is any clear sky around, but the forecasters said it's not going to be. So we've had a real tough day. That climb up onto the ridge here onto OFFA'S DYKE path from Lanterney Priory was a devastating killer.
700 feet.
700 meters feet. 700 feet. And that was the first mile from the Priory, was it?
Yeah.
Right. It was steep. Actually, I'd put it on a par with the first part of the Minforth path up Cadair Idris, but it was longer. So yeah, it was pretty savage. Anyway, there's something we need to talk about, folks, and it's something that's on the mind of every wild camper at the moment, and that's this ethos that we all try to live by of leave no trace. To be fair, Ollie and I haven't seen an awful lot of evidence on our way up here. of other campers having been out. We did see one very poorly placed camp right down by the car park that we were at. Clearly inside Wales as well, by the way, which is still officially, I believe, closed to camping. And they had a huge tent set up just inside a forest, very close to a road, and they were off collecting firewood. There was already a huge pile of firewood right there. So they were clearly getting ready to set themselves on fire in the wood there as well, in a pine wood, covered in pine needles on the floor, like a tinderbox in there. So, you know, people are still getting it wrong. More people are getting it wrong than they have done. So this leave no trace ethos that we try to enforce, or we try to live by, it's a bit controversial. And these images that I'm showing you on the screen at the moment are these are the images of what's been going around during lockdown, and they're tragic. The things that have been done, the things that have been left behind, the scenes that people have had to deal with. You know, we've got our carrier bags with us today in case we come across anything that we can collect and take away with us. All we've seen today, and it wasn't very pleasant to be fair, we've seen two places where people have obviously stopped to relieve themselves and left, well, for want of a better word, just left evidence behind of their clean-up operation, shall we say. But I believe it looks as if that's just someone who's been caught short on the trail. Doesn't excuse it, obviously. It's still vile. And they should still be taking it away with them. But it's not camping. It's not from campers that have been up here. To be fair, it's an absolutely stunning place up here. If it was clear, the views would be gorgeous. But I'm digressing. So leave no trace, folks. It's too important to not talk about, isn't it? And it's something we have to ingrain in ourselves. But my question to you is this: what do we do about the people who obviously don't know about this, care about this? You know, what is there that, other than clearing up after other people, what can we do? And a lot of people have said to me recently, well, educate is better than berating people. But my response to that has always been, well, yeah, but people have to want to receive that education and information. And a lot of people don't. And people have to be in an environment where they're going to receive that education. And a lot of them aren't interested in being on our wild camping groups and, you know, conversing with other campers and that sort of thing. So they're not going to get the opportunity to be told about that unless we approach them when we see them. So my question is, what do we do? What can we do? Is there anything we can do? Can we do something with social media to try and get the message out there? Or what? You know, is it something that can be nationally recognised somehow? Because it's a problem, and it has become a problem during lockdown, during the time when people would normally be off on their summer holidays, you know, flying to all over the world, and they haven't been able to. So they've stayed at home and they've gone, let's go camping. But because they don't understand it, they've never done it before, they don't understand what they need to do, it's ended up being a mess. So I'm getting to the point where I'm probably waffling a little bit now, so I'll shush and leave you to think about that question. What can we do to try to make sure that more people leave no trace? Get back to me. Leave me a comment below. Let me know. There was another question I was going to ask you guys as well. Oh, yes. There are some birds up here along OFFA'S Dyke path and along this ridge of the Black Mountains they're very, very fast. So we haven't been able to get any footage of them at all, but they're ground dwelling. They're a mottled brown sort of colour, and they move like greased lightning. They're as quick as anything, but they're very quiet. And we just wondered if any of you know what sort of birds live up here in this area. We're pretty sure we've seen at least one raven up here. There was an enormous black bird overhead that I didn't recognise as any kind of bird of prey that I know of. So I'm just wondering, what bird life do you guys know live in this sort of Black Mountains area? Ollie, was there anything else we were going to ask? If anyone knew about? Oh, yeah. The heather is cut in circles. And I don't mean there's a whole circle of heather removed. I mean there's just the outline of a circle removed. And there's lots of them next to each other, and we wondered whether that's something to do with the management to stop fires, to stop heather burning from spreading. So if anyone can shed any light on that, why there are circles cut in the heather, feel free to, you know, make comments about aliens and that sort of stuff. That's fine. Or anything else that you happen to know about the area would be great to hear from you on that. But because the photography looks like it's a bust, and because the clag has set in, we are going to chat the night away. We're going to have a couple of beers, and we're going to attempt to get a bit of sleep in what is actually quite a flappy tarp shelter, but we'll be all right. We're fine. We're sheltered, we're warm, we're quite happy here. And I will see you again in the morning, folks. Night, nice.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Morning, all. What have we left? We left no trace, folks. Good morning. We are packed up, squared away, ready to rock. And as always, as it should be, we have left absolutely no trace here apart from a bit of flat grass. We're hitting the trail. We reckon somewhere between 8 and 9 miles back to the car now. Up over Hay Bluff and down past a reservoir that I can't remember the name of, but I will show you when we get there. It was a windy and partly wet sort of night, but we pitched the tarp quite well, so we stayed more or less dry all the way through. I think Ollie's feet, the foot end of his sleeping bag, got a bit damp, and my pillow got a bit damp, but other than that, happy days, and off we go. See you on the trail. So we've just come down from Hay Bluff, folks. I don't know if you can see the trig up on the ridge line there. Sorry, I forgot to film it. We got chatting with some Welsh lads, but we've just made our way down the path. We're sort of skirting the northern slopes, the northern border of the Black Mountains now, and this view is pretty special. I kind of wish we'd come a little bit further and camped here, because there's some nicer spots for the tarp than where we actually spent the night. But anyway, something to remember next time we come, I guess. What a fantastic view. And the blue sky's starting to make its way through. It's going to be a lovely morning. folks, so that lovely little rise behind us was Lord Hereford's knob, and a delightful knob it was to mount. And now we're making our way down from Lord Hereford's knob.
Lord Hereford Fall.
To yeah, we've got one more down, one more up, and then a long down all the way back to the car, past the reservoir, and we're out of the worst of the wind now as well. So it's yeah, it's going to be a nice little dismount of the knob. But thank you, Lord Hereford. You have a mighty fine knob, a knob with fabulous views. And well, I suppose I better share some of those views with you. Have a look at this. So down we go, and then up onto that next peak, and then it's all down from there. Happy days. Just come over the high point of our whole trip, 713 metres. There's no name to that peak on the map, so I don't know what to tell you it's called. I can tell you the views are spectacular. So have a look at the map that I've been showing you through this trip. Get yourself up here. It is absolutely gorgeous. The views are endless. And that is definitely Pen y Fan directly in front of us, just to the left of Olly's head there. That is Pen y Fan. And Cribbin, Fanny Big. They seem close enough to just have a little wander across to them, but I reckon that's got to be 30 miles away, so we shan't be doing that today. But look at that. Offa's Dyke path continues up in that direction. We came off Offa's Dyke path at the top of Hay Bluff, but it continues all the way up the Welsh border, and possibly put it on the list of goals to achieve one day, do the whole lot. But at this point it's all downhill from here, and I'm going to bring you back at the reservoir, where we might just, well, we probably won't stop and dip our feet, but my feet certainly feel like they could do with it. Anyway, let's crack on. At the Groenfawr Reservoir. Let me show you the wall. Through the trees there is the wall of the dam. It's quite a pretty little place. We just stopped for a little sit before we hit the final mile. If you have a look in that direction there, that chunk of forest there, we're parked down at the bottom of it, so It is only a mile or so to go now back to the car, but the last 2 or 3 miles have taken a bit of a toll on the feet, so we've stopped for a little rest. It has been a cracking walk. It'll be about 20 miles over the 2 days by the time we're finished. And it's I have to say, my lack of fitness that's come on during lockdown has really told. It's really shown over these 2 days, especially on the uphills. So it's almost starting from square one with my fitness levels from here, so we'll see how that goes. Thanks ever so much for joining us on this trip, guys. And yeah, always a pleasure to have you along, guys. And if you like what you've seen during this video, then please hit that like button, leave me a comment, subscribe. I've got a lot more coming. The next trip, I'm going to be out for the first time for a wild camp with Elliot. My little boy Elliot's coming out for the first time. A lot of lovely things, lovely comments were made when he came out for that hike around Cleobury Mortimer with me and the Shropshire Mafia a little while ago. So he's actually coming out for his first ever wild camp during this next week coming. So round about next weekend there'll be a video coming out, and then shortly after that I get to go back to Cadair Idris. We'll talk more about that nearer the time. But big thanks to Olly for joining me. He's sickeningly fit, so he's left me behind on most of the uphills, but always very good company. We're going to make our way back to the car now, and I'll see you there when I'll do a bit of an official sign off. Bye bye. We are, folks. It's about a 2.5 hour drive home now, so we're going to get on the road. Again, thank you so much for joining us on this journey. It's been a heck of a challenge over 2 days. Well, for me it has anyway, with my fitness levels at the moment. So a massive thank you for coming along with us. Other than that, there's not a lot else to say. I'll be back with Elliot in my next film in a week or so. But until then, this is Richie for Wild Astro, signing off.